Next one. I don't let him track out, nigga. I don't let him catchy. Next one, what's going on?
I load it up.
All that tough talk, nigga, come be target practice. These 223s taking souls and they doing damage. Stink team with them niggas with exotic fast. So young bitchin' in my ear, I just flew flying them. Gangin' them just strip that nigga pieces, grab his phone after. Monkey nuts jumping off the top, going chimpanzee. Gave him SpongeBob hoes, I know he miss Sandy. Hit her up with donut holes, he just yell Randy. They ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some. Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting. They ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some. Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting. Nigga, they ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some, bitch. Nigga, Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. Nigga,
yeah.
I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer.
You know the truth.
He only said one word and I just start blasting.
Had to flee the scene, it was kinda graphic. It's our first mixtape, but we been established. Give him 32 shots, I'm finna show him magic. Off the muscle, nigga, this a guaranteed classic. If we popping out, you know I'm bringing stick, of course. Ballin' out on niggas, I ain't out here tryna play no sport. Kick her out the crib, tell a bitch not to fight the force. Strip a tall nigga, pockets loose, he came up short. Niggas nerves and dorks, count these automatic bullets. Hit him in his head, turned his dreadlocks into a mullet. I think you owe something, strip for me, give it up. Got home and hit the field again, that was not enough. Like a nigga double dutch, hop, skip, run and jump. Tripping, falling, pulling up his jeans, he was out of luck. Too gritty, bitch, this for life, this is not for fun. Niggas took my dog, now all these niggas be hard to trust.
They ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some. Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting. They ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some. Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting. Nigga, they ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some, bitch. Nigga, Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. Nigga, I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family like a Japanese meal. It's y'all shoot the hibachi and none of you niggas can stop me. But can't help but watch me. We back again, man. We've been on a, you know what I'm saying? It's been a marathon. We've been on a run. You know what I'm saying? We've been going live every day, dropping that heat rock like CL Smooth and Pete Rock. Tonight we're gonna be dealing with a WHI, just a white racist redneck, not one in blackface. We're giving y'all a break. You brothers that's in blackface, that's racist, rednecks, we giving y'all a break. We're dealing with an actual Aryan race supporter tonight. Supreme Aryan race supporter. And he's gonna get his arguments put on blast. You understand? These ass whoopings are equal opportunity. We give them out to everybody, no matter what race, what creed, what skin tone, what nationality. If you push in racist doctrines, we coming for you. You understand? We coming for you. We're going to stomp out all the racists. Because a lot of you guys are keyboard warriors. You're afraid to say that shit on live. You're afraid to stand on your swear. You won't click that damn link. All you do is want to run your mouth. That's why you go to social media. So I don't spend too much time clickety-clacking and going back and forth with y'all. I don't spend too much time on Facebook and all the other social media platforms that you trolls dwell at. I don't even respond to too many comments on my YouTube channel. Because y'all all talk. Y'all just talk, man. Y'all can't prove none of that bullshit y'all spitting. That 1800s, 1700s, racist dialogue that you guys and rhetoric that you guys are trying to push on people. You can't prove it. That's why you won't stand in the ring or get in the ring, because you know you're going to get your ass knocked out, right? You're going to get your ass knocked smooth out. Why? Because we actually read these sources. You don't. You skim them and you try to find something to support your racist view. That's all it is. When you say stuff like pre-Adamite, I already know your mind is not scientific. You're not dealing with the up-to-date science. You're dealing with racism. It's just that simple. Oh, I'm not racist. Oh, you're not racist, but you just demarcated a whole swath of people and said they were the beasts of the field. They're not even humans. But you're not racist, though. With no further ado, let's introduce the panel, man. I got the savant from Levant in the building. What's going on?
Hey, shalom, shalom. It's good to be back on the show, and can't wait to get into tonight's video addressing the origins of EM2 and some conflict that occurred on Facebook.
We got Shawn Michaels in the building. Chin checking motherfuckers.
Shalom, shalom, fam. What's going on? All right, we back at it again. This time we getting that, one of the cats from the MENA population, spewing their hatred and their demarcation of, haplogroup E, being Semitic, or even being in the Middle East, period, or the Levant. So with no further ado, I'll let my brother put it down for y'all.
All right, so let me just explain how all this went down and show y'all where all of this is taking place. If you want to follow along and see all the comments that was made between me and a guy named Adam Nazareth. So let me do it this way. All right, good. All right, so this is where everything happened. In the Facebook group, Jews versus Hebrew Israelites. Let's debate. Now, Adam, he made a post that I actually agreed with for the most part. A lot of the information was good and spot on. I'll actually read some of it. And so I'll just read some of it. So he says all the ancient DNA samples found in Israel, basically it's going to be E1, B1b, J, T, and R, those haplogroups. And basically he's going to say that these haplogroups would likely represent the population of the Israelites. For instance, he says the distribution of Afro-Asiatic language family, which Semitic belongs to, has an identical distribution pattern to Natufian ancestry. The Natufians belong exclusively to E1B1B. It's interesting that he makes this comparison because I actually did videos on this in the past showing the striking similarities between the distribution of Natufian autosomal DNA as well as Afro-Asiatic populations and E1B1B. It's partly why I come to the conclusions of the Israelites haplogroup and Semitic populations haplogroup. And then he says haplogroup. I'm not going to read all this. Don't worry. We'll get to the main portion of this. I just want to show y'all that I actually did agree with most of his posts. It's just one section that I had a disagreement with. So he says haplogroup J1 and E1B1B have a somewhat similar modern distribution pattern. They fit well against the Natufian map and Afro-Asiatic map. However, the J1 observed in many of the regions today where we find Afro-Asiatic languages, missed my place, was not historically present, but spread in more recent times with the Islamic/Arab empire. However, E1B1B would have had a similar distribution to what we see today, and in fact, would have been more frequent in the past. Thus, E1B1B is the only haplogroup that fits the parameters of being the indigenous haplogroup of Afro-Asiatic speaking groups, including Semitic. Again, I agree with all of this. So it's no surprise that indigenous Levantine groups, Natufians, Levantine, PPNB, belonged to E1B1B. In contrast to this, J1 is not indigenous to the Levant and migrated from the Caucasus. Its J-P58 subclade became prominent in Mesopotamia and the southern Levant during the Bronze Age, which coincides with an influx of non-Semitic speaking Gutian and Hurrian groups. Again, I agree with all of this. An accompanying increase of Caucasus/Zagros related ancestry in the Levant and also the sudden decline of many of the early Semitic civilizations. We have ancient DNA from Ebla, northern Syria, Mesopotamia, where they spoke Ebelite, one of the oldest written Semitic languages. The oldest Y-DNA found in Ebla is E1B1B, 4,500 years ago. We also observe some J-P58 a few hundred years later, which begins expanding further south into Israel, Jordan, and Arabian Peninsula, where it's prominent. Again, I agree with all of this information. I actually did videos talking about how J would have came into the Levant as Hurrian and Gutian populate, well, Hurrian populations in the Levant and Gutian populations in Mesopotamia, and they were the ones that collapsed Semitic civilization, and that the original inhabitants of these Afro-Asiatic lands is E1B1B. Does anybody on the panel want to expound on that a little bit while I pull up those videos that I did in the past on that? Anybody want to expound on his post?
Nah, everything is correct. Everything is right and exact. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to show the people really quick here that that, like I said, I agree with most of the things he said in his post, and in my own videos I've talked about this on the Hebrew of Israel channel. I'm just going to quickly show y'all that last year, I actually talked about what he was explaining in the post. And so, like I said, I have pretty much a full agreement with him. And y'all see in a minute where everything started to decline. But if you want to check out the specific videos that kind of detail, um, like the Natufian and E1B1B connection and the Semitic collapse, I'll advise that you look at these videos: the Northeastern African origin of Semites, the North African origin of Semites, the Arabian Peninsula origin of Semites, but more specifically, from Natufians to Proto-Semites, that deals with the more Natufian Semitic E1B haplogroup E connection, and then Ebla, the downfall of a Semitic kingdom, and Akkad and Ebla, the collapse of Semitic civilization, where I do go into how it looks like these J markers made their way from the Caucasus into the Middle East, and was basically knocking down Semites and taking land and territory. So, like I said, also right here, the Natufian Afro-Asiatic Proto-Semitic genome. So yeah, all these videos kind of, support. Excuse me, my bad. Support his post. So here's where I started to disagree with him. Let me just skip to the section. So he says, whereas E-M2 is irrelevant, its distribution has nothing in common with Afro-Asiatic languages or Natufian ancestry. It played no part in ancient Semitic civilizations and is not present in ancient DNA in Israel or Levant Mesopotamia. It's equally absent or found at low frequencies amongst modern Jewish and Semitic speakers, and is negligible at best apart from regions where the Arab slave trade was prevalent. There's no argument for E-M2. So basically, he's saying that E-M2, E1B1A, really has no chance of being Israelite marker. And I was basically like, well, we can't really say that for sure. So let me get to my comment. And I liked his post, but this is what I say. I say I agree with most of the information because I literally made videos almost a year ago explaining the same thing, like literally the same thing. So I'm glad to see other people came to the same conclusion. And by the way, I noticed that Jacob Israel also liked this guy's post. Let me see if I can find his comment. Yeah, it's somewhere in there. But I know Jacob Israel liked his post, and it's kind of interesting because Jacob Israel kind of disagreed with me in my videos when I said the same thing. So it's just weird. Like, it seems like when a non-black person says it, they have to be wrong. But excuse me, when a non-black person says it, they have to be right. But when a black person says it, they have to be wrong. And y'all see that throughout the conversation here in a second, that a lot of stuff that I say has to be wrong, even though it's what the scientists say. but he has to be right, and we'll get into that in a second. But with that being said, I don't agree with the E-M2 part. The person who made this post did a great job with the haplogroups, but knows little to nothing about E-M2. And we're going to illustrate here in a second that he absolutely has no idea about the origin of E1B1A. By the way, E-M2 means E1B1A, just in case for those that may not know. So this is the person in question, Adam Nazareth, that we are going to be dealing with. My only focus is on haplogroups which are observed. Well, actually, I'm going to skip this part because I pretty much say okay, because he's saying that he's only focusing on the haplogroups that he sees: E1B1B, JP58, T1, etc. And so he says, so respectively, E-M2 doesn't interest me much as it has no ancient presence.
Can I say
and
something here? Can I say
Yeah, go
something?
ahead. Yeah.
He's being facetious. It does interest him a lot, and it's gonna be revealed later on in his conversation. It interests him is because he has a bias towards African Americans. He has this bias because he's probably ran into BHIs, and they probably told him that he was a devil or something like that, right? But it's clear you do care. You care to put EM2 in its place, according to you. You care to delimit and demarcate EM2 on E1B1A. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to give you this scapegoat EM2 shit because you're just going to go to the downstream mutation, but EM2 actually comes from V38. And we'll go to what the origin for V38 is, which you guys run away from all the damn time. You care about E1B1A because you're doing all these pieces to delimit E1B1A and say E1B1A can't be a part of these groups. And you said appreciable for a reason because E1B1A is there and you can't ignore it. Well, you try to, but you can't. They're even there now. They were there then, and we can make those arguments. But go ahead, brother.
Sorry.
Real quick, I have to agree with you, Shu, because this whole group is nothing but WHIs and BHIs going back and forth with nothing but racist narratives. So yeah, his biased thoughts, and just because he's angry with BHI talking points here on this Facebook group, um, this is why you're getting all of this ugliness from these guys.
Yeah, I agree. He's gonna, as y'all are about to see, he's going to really pressure me and force this conversation to happen because I'm basically going to say later on that hey, I'll just make a video explaining why I believe E-M2 has a North African origin, but he keeps pushing me to talk to him about this, and I'm like trying to give him clues that hey, I don't want to talk about this on Facebook, have a long drawn out conversation, but he's going to be the one that keeps poking me and wanting to keep asking me and drag the conversation on. But so what I say is there actually is ancient presence in Egypt, but okay, dealing with E1B1A because obviously we have Ramses the third and his son. And then he says Egypt is Egypt. It has its own genetic landscape and history. My focus is on Israel and Semitic kingdoms. If you're aware of any E-M2 in Israel or any Semitic kingdom, feel free to share. I'm yet to see any. And so then I say, to be fair, you did say surrounding populations too, which he did in his post. And then he says, this is another person that comes into the conversation. His name is Fabian, and he says E-M2 isn't a significant prominent haplotype in North Africa. And then I say, today, no. Different story thousands of years ago. And then Adam Nazareth comes in with another comment that's not necessarily relevant. And I just say, got it. Like, I'm not even trying to drag it on. I got it. Thumbs up. I thumbs up him. And then Fabian says, E-M2 seems like it has its origin in Northern Africa. This is, again, Fabian saying this. E-M2, E1B1A, seems to have its origins in Northern Africa, but as it being a Judahite or Israelite haplotype marker, I don't know. So it's actually Fabian who kind of starts the conversation dealing with E-M2 in Northern Africa. It wasn't really technically me, but anyways, that's sort of besides the point. And so I tell Fabian, I agree with it having North African origin. With that being said, I can still make an argument for it being an Israelite marker. I wouldn't say Judahite or place any specific tribe, just broadly Israelite. And then Fabian says, what is this based on? Let's see what this is. All right, so then Adam says, uh, what's the oldest known and confirmed E-M2? Modaman in Ethiopia is E-M329. Ramses is speculative since only 13 STR markers were tested, and these results produce a different haplogroup depending on which Y-DNA predictor is used. But let's say he is indeed E-V38. Neither are E-M2. So where is the oldest E-M2 specifically? Is there anything you want to say to that comment, Yushu?
That's idiocy because you need to know where EV38 is, because EV38 is the parent. And I called this out earlier without even knowing this guy said this. EV38 is the father or the parent haplogroup of mutation of M2. So that's very important. Where you can find V38, then you can posit, okay, the downstream mutations of V38 could be close or in proximity. You guys don't have anything but inference. We have solid evidence with skeletal remains, being Ramesses III, also the France sample of V38, and also the V38 samples in Corsica. Those are the oldest E1B1A samples. It's not even in sub-Saharan Africa. All of that's fucking guessing.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
And I'd like to point out that it's not a guessing game when it comes to Ramses III having E1B1A. Even one of the latest papers dealing with ancient Egyptians, which came out in 2020, titled Insights from Ancient DNA Analysis of Egyptian Human Mummies, Clues to Disease and Kinship. It has a section on Ramses, and it says, zoom in here. The genetic results confirm that both mummies, dealing with Ramses and his son, had the same Y chromosome molecular signature, E1B1A haplotype, and one set of identical autosomal alleles suggesting a father-son relationship. So yes, even in 2020, it has been confirmed, reconfirmed, I guess you can say, that Ramses is indeed E1B1A and his son.
Right. These racist bastards was trying to say that that's speculative, but go around and give you a whole speculation of where EM2 comes from. The oldest EM2 found is in France. It's a downstream of EM2, found in France about 4,000 to 3,000 years ago in Mesolithic France. Boom. Ain't nothing speculative about that. It's published science.
Exactly. And he would try to, in the comments, as y'all are about to see, he's going to basically say that, oh, I don't go with the science. I say that the science is the white man's, is the evil white man's design, and that, you know, I'm running from the science and I don't follow science. And yet he's, throughout the conversation, you're going to see that he's the one trying to run away from the science and not follow what the scientists say. It's going to be hilarious. And so then I tell Fabio, so I tell Fabio, I'll make a video explaining it, talking about the E-M2 North African origins, because Facebook comment sections isn't meant for deep discussions like that, which I still believe, but I'm going to get drug into by Adam Nazareth. And so I tell Adam Nazareth, E-V38 is E1B1A, which it didn't seem like he knew. Anyways. So Adam then messaged to me saying, I'm aware of that. However, E-V38 has two distinct branches that have very different distributions. E-M329 is Eastern branch and localized to Ethiopia, whereas E-M2 is more Western specific, with West Africa having a more monopoly on diversity of clades. So it appears E-M329 evolved in Ethiopia, whilst E-M2 evolved in West Africa. So how do you come to the conclusion it evolved in North Africa? And this right here illustrates that he knows absolutely nothing about E-M2. Because if he knew anything about E1B1A, he would know that there are papers, various papers that state E1B1A, E-M2 was in North Africa during the Green Sahara. There's plenty of papers that talk about this. So the fact that he's asking me, why do I come to the conclusions, or how do I come to the conclusions that it evolved in North Africa, just shows he hasn't read the papers. So I tell him, I'll explain in a video why I pose a North African origin for E-M2 than a West African. There's a lot of information to cover, but I can't do it in a Facebook comments. I'll post the video in this page when it comes out. And I do plan on doing that video. It will be coming out soon, by the way. So this is what Adam says. Now, I'm not going to read all of Adam's comments. And by the way, I'd like to point out, before I go too deep, I did tell Adam before this video started that I'll be going live. I will let him come on and explain his points, and we can actually talk about this, the origins of E-M2, E1B1A. I'm still waiting to see if he is coming, but I sent him the message via Facebook Messenger, and Sean posted the video in Jews versus Hebrew Israelites, Let's Debate. I don't know if it's been approved yet, and I also sent an invite to the same Facebook page for Adam to come on. So we'll see if he comes on. But
don't hold your breath, little bro.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. But basically, I want him to come on because he can explain his own points. But and also, I'm not going to read all of his comments because he does do a lot of quoting, and I want to address the more main juicy parts. And so that's why I was offering him to come on so he can actually explain everything, because I'm not reading his long comments, especially when he's just, quoting studies that I've already read. So let's get into this now. I just want to have that little disclaimer that I did offer him to come on. All right. So was checking for your post, but nothing yet. And by the way, I didn't even tell him when I'll be sending him the video. Like I wasn't going to do it that very day. But anyways, in the meantime, I did some digging on my own, excuse me. And honestly, there's not much to support a North African origin for EM2. That goes to show you right there that he honestly did not do enough digging when he made that comment. So I'm just gonna show you why really quick, because that's the second time him saying that there's not really evidence of a North African origin for EM2. So here's a very simple paper that talks about a North African origin of EM2. This paper is titled, and if one of you can, one of y'all on the panel, y'all can put this link into the side chat for people. A History of Male Migration in and Out of the Green Sahara. And so basically, I'm not going to read the abstract. Well, actually, I'll go ahead and read the abstract. So it says, the Sahara was once fertile. A recent study identifies human Y chromosomal lineages that flourished in this Green Sahara and their relationship to present-day populations. All right, so let's get to the relevant portion, because it talks about E-M2. I think this is part of it right here. So it says, D'Antonsezo et al. Hypothesized that because the Sahara has been such a strong barrier to human migration for the past 5,000 years, haplogroups that are found in the current populations, both in the northern and to the southern, to the north and the south of the Sahara, must have spread during the green phase. Previous work had identified 4 such haplogroups: A3-M13, E-M2, highlight that, E-M2, that's E1B1A, E-M78, and R-V88. So these are the haplogroups that would have been in the Green Sahara. So let's look at the model here. So I'm going to zoom in, and it's a bit blurry. Well, let me see, can I push it? It might come up a little bit bigger. There we go. So here's the model, and I'll finish reading it here in a second. But basically, all this green emphasizes the Green Sahara, and these are the thousands of years ago. So I guess like around 5,000 to 12,000 years ago, haplogroups such as E-M2 would have been in the Green Sahara. That's North Africa. E-M2, Bantu, E-M2, Bantu. So yeah, it would have been in the Green Sahara. Here's another model showing E-M2 in the Green Sahara, North Africa, like I've been saying. And then here's the distribution. The E-M2s would have migrated from the Green Sahara in North Africa to sub-Saharan Africa. And like I said to the guy in the Facebook comments, I plan on doing a very in-depth video talking about all of this stuff. I'm actually kind of exposing some of the information already, but let me just show people as well what the Green Sahara would have looked like, and then we'll get back to the reading. So the Green Sahara is just as it sounds. It would have just been a time period in Africa in which the Sahara had lakes and rivers, and it would have been very fertile. There would have been animals living there. There would have been human populations living there, and it would have been just a great place to live in this time period between like 12,000, 5,000 years ago. There's a lot of archaeology and evidence of humans out there. And basically, like the terrain would have been like savannas with a couple of like forest regions and stuff like that. But like I said, I'll do a very, very in-depth video in the future talking about that because I think the Green Sahara is pretty interesting. So let's get to the part that talks about E-M2. All right, so it says it's widely accepted that sub-Saharan Y chromosomes are dominated by E-M2 lineages carried by Bantu-speaking farmers as they expanded from West Africa, starting less than 5 KYA, 5,000 years ago, basically, reaching South Africa within recent centuries. And that's another thing he's going to say in the comments that y'all are about to see is that, oh, you're acting like these lineages recently went into sub-Saharan Africa. Yes, they did. A lot of these E1B1A lineages are fairly young and recently entered sub-Saharan Africa, as the papers literally say. So it says reaching South Africa within recent centuries. The E-M2 Bantu lineages lie phylogenetically within the Green Sahara lineage and show at least 3 explosive lineage expansions beginning 4.9 through 5.3 KYA, thousands of years ago. So yes, E1B1A is within the Green Sahara lineage. Basically, it is like North African in origin. Like, so yeah, let's get back to the comments. So again, just reading what he says. I did some digging on my own, and honestly, there's not much to support a North African origin for E-M2. Yeah, you don't know nothing about E-M2, my guy. So he says, where exactly in North Africa do you suppose E-M2 evolved? And when I do my future video, I'll explain where I believe it evolved. And I'll just go ahead and say that, like, I would kind of place it more towards the Mediterranean North Africa, and I'll explain a little bit later as to why, but it will be closer to the Mediterranean coast of North Africa. But basically now he just like posts a bunch of North African lineages ancient North African lineages that they found, scientists found, like the Ibero-Maurusians and Toffer, which I agree, yeah, they're E1B1B, but just because they're E1B1B doesn't mean that we're not going to find E1B1A at some point. I mean, as Dr. Carl Sagan said, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. I do believe at some point we will find E1B1A in North Africa, and technically we already do with Ramses III and his son. So, But anyways, exit that. Is there anything I want to say before I go deeper into this? I'm going to skip this part because I'm getting a lot of text messages, as y'all can see. But
Yes. I was about to go to archaeology. So I have a very expensive book. It's called the Oxford Companion to African Archaeology. And within that book, if you look into sub-Saharan African past, it's a piecemeal. It's a piecemeal. Why? Because as the evidence is bearing out, the genetic evidence is bearing out, that the majority of the people live north. Why? Because of the Green Sahara. The reason why you guys don't want to allot that for E1B1A is because you guys are fucking racist and you believe in landlocking and delimiting people's ancestry. He just showed you the paper in genome biology about EM2 being a part of those trans-Saharan groups that was in North Sahara, that was in Green Sahara, and that's why they explain as EM2 above the Sahara and below the Sahara because of those events, right? And also, archaeology shows you that there was no populations, little to no populations below the Sahara anciently, right? So let me pull it up. I was trying to find it while you were reading, but it's a book called the Oxford Handbook of African Archaeology. I remember pulling this on an Africanist one time. He got so mad he tried to threaten me. That don't bode well with me. I solve threats with brass. That's how I solve threats, with hot brass. But within this paper, it discusses when we start seeing pretty much pottery assemblages and stuff like that in sub-Saharan Africa. And that really shows you when you start seeing population assemblages. Before you see any pottery assemblages, you can't really say, oh, there's people. No, there's not that many people there. Sub-Saharan Africa was a very hard place to get to. Here it is right here for there. A little evidence.
When you're ready to share your screen,
I got it right here.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? We known for smacking racists upside the head with knowledge and information.
Facts.
And we don't bite our tongue. You can't bridle us, man. So I'm gonna share my screen here. Going straight to the book here. The Oxford Handbook of African Archaeology, pages 799 to 800. It says in West Africa, there is very little evidence for people south of the Sahara prior to the mid-Holocene, and such evidence as does exist is primarily of small, scattered groups of mobile hunter-gatherers, some of whom return frequently, possibly even seasonally, to the same places. The earliest late Stone Age sites date to around 12,000 BP and are dominated by chipped stone assemblages. This is huge. You have to understand this. This is primarily in quartz and often with geometric microliths. They are generally distinguished from an earlier, even well less known Middle Stone Age by a small size of their kidnapping debris, although a microlithic aspect of the LSA is also known. A number of these LSA sites are overlain by SMA assemblages recognizable by the appearance of groundstone tools and pottery dating to 5,000 years later. This is when you start seeing influxes of groups coming in. Prior to that, just as the book says, in West Africa, there's very little evidence of people south of the Sahara prior to the mid-Holocene. You only see small groups and they're hunter-gatherers, and we already know who those groups are, thanks to David Reich in a paper made in 2020. Haplogroup A and haplogroup B. You don't see E. And even in the paper with David Reich, he tells you that present-day sub-Saharan population may not represent ancient ones because they understand this. They're not trolls on Facebook trying to push a racist narrative. All right. So from here, as you guys can see, this is the Oxford Handbook. Let me bookmark this real quick.
And the crazy part, you shoot, I don't even discount E1B1B or J or R or T. I'm not in that post trying to talk down on those other haplogroups. I'm just talking about a North African origin for EM2. The haplogroup of African Americans, and he's just going against me for whatever reason. I'm like, bro, I'm not dissing nobody. I'm just talking about North African origin for this haplogroup. Why is this so bad? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's
Exactly.
because of their it's because of their paranoia of BHI talking points on that particular page. You know, like I said earlier, that face group page is full of WHIs and BHIs going back and forth with racist rhetoric.
Yep. Yep. Trying to delimit someone's ancestry. That is textbook racism. Oh, you can't be from your ancestors can't be from here because of what? Because of your pure speculation? Your pure speculation. We have actual scientific evidence, archaeological evidence that backs up what we're saying here. That's why nobody wants to smoke with us. That's why none of you niggas, none of you wiggers, you white races, you black races want to debate us. None of y'all, not Teo, not none of you internet fake racist Nazis on the Facebook groups, not Garfield, not Jabari, not none of them Sonetta clowns. None of them niggas won't smoke because you're going to get hit with empirical evidence. Again, and our theories are what? Interpreted by what? We interpret the facts. You guys just bring your racist rhetoric. If it's a BHI, you're bringing your pro-black racial rhetoric. If it's this guy here, this WHI, he's going to bring his pro-white racial rhetoric. That's why they cool E1B1B because they're white. We see it past y'all, man. We see right past you. We see right through you dudes. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, like I said, we cut our teeth. You know what I'm saying? We cut our teeth in Clubhouse just dealing with the mental population and WHI. So, this is nothing for us to have to deal with.
Right. So let me share this source here. I got another source. Real quick. We'll be very fast, concise, and to the point. We're going to circumcise these dickheads.
Here we go.
Snip, snip.
So this is from a scientific paper I'll show you here by Marek van der Lustrens, 2018. And it says, this is why they don't want to associate E1B1A with North Africa. Right here. I'm going to show you why. North Africa is a strong candidate for the place having kept basal Eurasians because it is well connected to Eurasia. That's why. That's why. From this point of view, the Upper Paleolithic individuals from Tafarot are likely candidates as being direct descendants of or closely derived from the basal Eurasian population. They understand that there is no genetic barrier between North Africa and Eurasia. They understand that. That's why they share the same fauna, the same flora. It's very similar. Right? It's very similar. That's why they don't want to associate North Africa. And turns out ISOG 10 years ago was correct in this postulation here. Look, we go to ISOG. We just type in ISOG E1B1A in North Africa. Right? Type this in. Don't forget the point, though. North Africa being connected to Eurasia.
I like to point out, by the way, while you do that, just really quick, a person keeps messaging me on Facebook. I don't know if this is Adam, but some guy named Jack Daniel. And he's saying that, no, Ramses III was actually E1B1A in 2012. Yes, I know that by Zua Hawass. It was in 2012 when they said Ramses III and his son was E1B1A, but I wanted to, like the guy Adam keeps telling me, show the most updated studies, which was in 2020, which basically said, yeah, he's E1B1A. So I don't see the issue. 2012, he's E1B1A. 2020, he's E1B1A. Nothing changed.
Baby Hitler. That's what he is, baby Hitler. We don't give a fuck. Keep crying in the damn chat. You're not gonna bring your ass up here and stand on anything, so no one cares. This is what ISOG said. It says here, E1B1A is an African lineage that probably expanded from Northern Africa to Sub-Saharan Africa and Equatorial Africa with the Bantu agricultural expansion. This is ISOG saying this.
Wait. They said from Northern Africa.
From Northern Africa.
To
Northern
sub-Saharan Africa.
to
Oh my.
sub-Saharan Africa, which makes a lot of sense when you go to haplotree. Let me go to haplotree real
And
quick.
he said he did some digging. What digging did he do?
Let's go to haplotree.
What digging? Oh my gosh.
Info DNA map, and then let's go to France. Ancient DNA map here. Let me type in France here and show these dilettantes.
By the way, what does ISOGG stand for?
International Standard of Genetic Genealogy.
Okay.
Yeah.
International Standard of Genetic Genealogy, and according to that, E1B1A expanded from Northern Africa to Sub-Saharan Africa. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to bring up anything in the damn chat. This dude history.
Yeah,
buff is,
I see his comments.
foolishness. Right.
Excuse me, International Society of Genetic Genealogy. I said standard. My bad.
International
fact-
Society. Okay.
I had to fact check myself real quick. So in France, they found. Let me share this. EZ160056. That is a downstream marker of EM2.
And if I'm correct, it has not changed.
No, this is up to date. This is what they have on the books right now. EZ16056. That's it.
Tell the people where they can find this.
So you can just click the paper. Oh, well, I didn't want to go to the map. This is where they found it here in Europe.
That also could support a North African origin.
Yeah, because it's easy to get here through the Gibraltar. You can go to the Levantine corridor and go up here.
Right.
This is not hard. This is not hard.
The Straits of Gibraltar.
Right, you can go here, the Straits of Gibraltar. Right, but the paper. Let me see if I can get the paper here.
Well, all you got to go to ancient DNA. www.
No, the paper it came from is
.edu.
Mesolithic France. Let me see. EZ16. Type this in. EZ16056. And of course, oh no, I don't give a damn what you agree with, man. Who gives a fuck? Go eat a dick. Gives a fuck. Like you guys be having emotional spills about damn DNA. Cause you mad because the DNA is not bearing out your racist ass mind. It's not bearing out your theology, your ideology. So
their ideology is that we're just tall pygmies. That's what they think we are.
Right.
Which makes no sense because their pygmies are mostly haplogroup A and B. But anyway. You Negroes were never in North Africa.
Yeah, man. It's just crazy. So here's this paper here. From Science actually covered it.
My bad, go ahead.
Ancient genome-wide DNA from France highlights the complexity interaction between Mesolithic hunter-gatherers and Neolithic farmers. They did this paper in 2020, man. 2020. I'll put this paper in the chat. Something else you can cry about. Right here. Boom. All right, I got one more paper to bring out. Let me go to David Reichs real quick. I know you're gonna touch on it later, but I'm gonna just bring this out.
No, go ahead and touch on it. We can rehash.
So David Reich, we have already touched on this paper in prior episodes. And guess what? I'm not going back and forth with you fuckers on Facebook. You're not gonna see me on there. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, David Reich did a paper on the Shumlaka remains, right?
Shumlaka.
So within this paper, I'm gonna let you. You say what?
No, I was just gonna say that's another thing he tries to connect us to, but I'll let you go ahead and show the people.
You can't even fucking put. Here it is here. Here it is here in that paper. And I'll put this paper in the chat as well, so anybody can read it. You understand? Go here, share this tab. Boom. This is under Schumacher in genetic and archaeological context. So our analysis showed that the 4 sample children from Schumacher can be modeled as admixed with approximately 35% ancestry related to West Central African hunter-gatherers and approximately 65% from basal West African related source, or alternatively, as a mixture of hunter-gatherer related ancestry plus 2 additional components, one from inside the clade of present-day West Africans and one split between East and West Africans. The first component plausibly represents the ancestry present in the area since at least the late Stone Age. Remember, I just read about that in the archaeological book of Africa, right? These small hunter-gatherer groups, these were A and B. Now, the genetic history, the genetics, the genomes that we're finding in these areas is matching up with what we've been reading about archaeology. It says, whereas the second component, third and alternative model, may have originated farther to the north. Let me read it again. Whereas the second component may have originated farther to the north, given the geography and phylogeny of other sample populations. You motherfuckers do not read none of this shit.
No.
You playing in a field that you don't belong in. The chronology of the archaeological record at Schumacher suggests a possible northern influence on cultural developments during the SMA, Stone to Metal Age. These, remember I told you earlier when I was reading the Oxford Companion of Archaeology in Africa, pay attention to this when they change over from stone tools. These include changes in stone tools, which can be interpreted as a fusion of local late Stone Age tool making traditions with new macrolithic technologies introduced from the north. Again, you motherfuckers don't read. And the idiot is going to post this paper. He's going to post this paper and he didn't even read the shit. It says, in the appearance of ceramics, 4 shards found in early SMA burial layer and more abundant in distinct ceramics in later SMA deposits, potentially related to earlier pottery working traditions in the Sahara. In the Sahel.
Dang.
Gene flow from the north before 8000 BP is also possible due to the short period of the Saharan-Sahelian aridification. Let's keep going. Present-day groups in northern West Africa and Sahel have substantial admixture connected to later migrations, so identifying the exact source area may await additional ancient DNA studies. This is harmonious with what Loosrecht said. This is harmonious. I'm gonna go back to Loosrecht. I ain't gonna be on here too long. It don't take too much time to crack you idiots because you don't fucking read.
It really don't. And like I said, y'all remember from the comments, he said I did a little digging. What digging did he do? He didn't do anything.
He dug in his ass.
Yeah.
Like I'm digging my foot up his ass. You understand?
We already brought up what, 4 papers that already proved E1B1A has most definitely has a likely origin of originating in North Africa during the Green Sahara. Like, come on.
They're not going to pay attention to that. They, you know what they do. They read to try. They skip over everything and try to ad hoc an argument from the papers, in any way they can.
Right. But hey, this is for the people. This is for our people. Maybe they'll learn something. Because, or did you find it by the way you shoot?
No, go ahead. Filibuster, I get it. It's another paper. Hold on.
Because this ain't for the.
You're a donut. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. You're stupid. Dumb.
Yeah, this ain't for those who can't accept the science.
Yeah, I found it. So again, this is Loosrecht's 2018 again for the Pleistocene North African genomes linked Near Eastern and Sub-Saharan African human populations. Let's go down. 1-2 punch real quick. Let's go down. You know, because they quit to quote our brothers, because they our brothers too. YAP, motherfuckers. Those are brothers, not yours. I don't even know.
Yeah.
You probably ain't even took
Yeah.
your DNA, you weird ass nigga. You ain't even take, we don't even know who you are. Who the fuck are you? It's like in the New Testament when they beat the clothes off on fake prophets. They say, we know Paul, but who are you? You know what I'm saying? We don't know who this dude is, man.
Yeah, North Africans are literally our distant cousins. Like, come
Oh,
on.
we're gonna beat you raggedy, bro. Fuck wrong with you? And you ain't gonna show face because you pussy. You pussy, man. Most you dudes on the internet that be clickety clacking, clickety clacking, clickety clacking, pussy. You can't even click a link.
Hey, should
That's why I know you be getting mushed in real life. Random motherfuckers just walk up to you and mush you and your shit, and you don't do nothing but go home and piss your drawers.
Hey, should history buff and Jack Daniel and Adam Nazareth. You know what they're doing right now?
Exactly.
Nothing but a bunch of keyboard warriors, bro.
Goofy ass niggas.
Keyboard warriors.
Be the same type of person go shoot up a school full of kindergartners. Can't even defend them damn selves because you pussy. Now, to this paper, it says right here, another case for continuity exists in West Africa. I'll read it again. Another case for continuity exists in West Africa. We read these damn papers. Y'all don't, man. The MSA persists for much longer than in North Africa. However, lithic assemblages from several sequences in West Africa show some similarities with the artifacts of the transitional phase at Tafarat, with examples of Otsis and bifacial pieces at Onjugu in Mali, dated to 35,000 plus or minus 1,000 years ago. Recently, sites in Phalim Valley in eastern Senegal have yielded bladelets in segments. For both Mali and Senegal, the sites are still poorly dated, and there are no Ibero-Mauritian sites identified for the north until the area of Agadir in southern Morocco. This is what these papers are saying. All right, I'm done, man. Take it, bro. Take it over. Finish.
All right.
Wait, no, I ain't finished. I lied. One more.
Yeah, go in.
One more, man. So we go here, Control F. Let's go right to it. What does it say right here? A more recent link is the spread of Bronze Age Levant-like ancestry in sub-Saharan Africa, together with agriculture during the Bantu expansion. The Bronze Age Levant gene pool has been proposed to be a mixture of Neolithic Levant with individuals related to Caucasus hunter-gatherers and early Neolithic farmers from Iran and from Anatolia. Now I'm finished. Go. You got it. I'm done.
All right. Let's get started. Well, actually, hold on. Filibuster just a little bit longer, because I'm going to show y'all something in Telegram. So filibuster just a little bit longer. And
yeah, I wanted to show where History Buff got his information from. Instead of reading the papers. Hold on, let me share. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I should have had this ready already because present, share screen.
Yeah, Abu, I know what you're talking about, brother. So like S&P tracker and stuff, what they do is they will go off of the divergence date of where they found that person. For instance, they found a person with a D marker, that's ancestral D marker in Arabia, and they cannot associate that person with being anywhere else than Arabia. So they put the origin of his haplogroup in Arabia. What's going on here?
What's his name? History Buff. He had posted something. So instead of reading the papers, this is where he's getting his information and not actually reading the papers, and just so You know, basically what he said in his comment in the chat, haplogroup EV38, also known as E1B1A V38, is a human Y chromosome DNA haplogroup. EV38 is primarily distributed in sub-Saharan Africa. EV38 has two basal branches, EM329 and EM2. The EM329 subclade is presently found almost exclusively in Ethiopia. EM2 is the predominant subclade of West Africa, Central Africa, Southern Africa, and the region of African Great Lakes. It also occurs in moderate frequencies in some parts of North Africa, West Africa, and Southern Europe. So this is where he got, he basically just took this and ran with it.
Yeah, that's usually how it go. There ain't no deep studying or nothing.
Exactly. He's not reading any paper. He's not doing anything. This is let me stop sharing, sorry. This is what these guys do. And then jump on in the chat and want to drop comments and don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I ain't got time for it.
Not pulling up no studies, not pulling up no
I
studies.
don't have time for it, bro. Like, listen, if you ain't gonna get on stage, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear you. I've been ignoring you niggas. You ain't trying to debate. You ain't trying to get on stage. I don't do this back and forth clickety clack shit. I'm not a keyboard warrior like y'all. Y'all only exist on fucking Facebook. Nobody gonna go back and forth with you peons.
Yeah, Boo just made a statement too about the the EM2, and he said to go to
fuck out of here. Nobody give a fuck about that shit, man. He out of here. He gone.
Yeah, I just want to show.
Boo. I addressed that. I addressed that already.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay, cool. Sorry.
Yeah, get these retarded motherfuckers out of here, man. You only exist behind your fucking keyboard, clickety clack. Bro, get on here and speak your piece and stand here like a man when we whip that ass. That's it.
Judah Jedi, you're about to get your skirt pulled up to in a second.
I don't want views like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about making a big channel just to say I got a big channel. I don't give a damn about that shit. So,
all right. Check your Telegram. I'm gonna go back to what I was at. All right. So, where do we leave off? Right here. Exit because Jack Daniels keep on sending messages because he is a spineless coward. Anyways,
let's go.
Let's go back to it.
Let's go.
All right. So he goes down the diatribe saying that in the meantime, I did some digging of my own, and honestly, there's not much to support a North African origin for EM2. And we literally just went into how there is indeed a North African origin for EM2. He also tries to debunk, and this is him going against the science. He claims that I'm trying to go against the science, but he goes against the science, saying that Ramses III may not actually be E-M2 and all that type of stuff. He is E1B1A. Anyways, so now he brings up one of the papers that you just said, Yeshub. Let me see where I can start. So he says, I've also seen some claims of an even more northern / non-African origin based on a supposed Neolithic E-M2 sample from France. And that's the sample, and based on some supposed E-M2 samples from Iran and the BMAC / Turkmenistan. However, all of those E-M2 designations were automated as assignments. Upon review, the E-M2 assignments were resynthesized or excluded from the final.
Rescinded, brother. Rescinded.
Rescinded. Oh, my bad.
It was taken back. Yeah, rescinded.
My bad. My eyes. Rescinded or excluded from the final verified data sets by the scientists. False positives. So there's no confirmed or verified ancient E-M2 outside of Africa. What's your thoughts on that issue?
Still haven't seen any evidence on that. The up-to-date science says otherwise. I've already showed it.
Do you want to show it again? Or
not the BMAC thing, the France thing. The BMAC thing is what do you call it? I forget the word to use. They recanted on the BMAC thing, but not the France one.
Okay.
He's right about
that's when
BMAC. He's
he
not right about the
rescinded.
France one. Yeah.
Right, when he said rescinded.
Mm-hmm. But he's trying to say that was the France one because, again, and I haven't seen any evidence for it. I've actually seen evidence for the BMAC one. I've never seen evidence for the France one. Go ahead.
Right. And by the
That's
way,
the Corsica. That's the Corsica sample, right?
No, the one in France is the one that's actually in mainland France, not on the
Okay.
island. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
and by the way, Yeshub and Sean, can you take it for a minute when it comes to maybe more origins of actually hold on, let me see what I can do.
Wait, what are you asking for?
What you looking
All
for?
right,
Yeah,
all right.
what you looking for?
Basically, what Jack Daniels is trying to do, this is funny. What he's trying to do is basically dox me at the moment.
Yeah, just block his ass and report him on Facebook. I got you.
Yeah.
Who the hell is that?
What else he say here? Block his ass and on Facebook. You can't do shit like that. That's what bitches do. You understand?
Yeah,
Like I said, these dudes get mushed in real life, and they get their pant. Once they get mushed, they go home with their panties wet. That's the type of shit they do, man. Anyway, that's probably biblical DNA, man. Report his ass. That's all you do. You
it
don't
would be
play with
funny
things
if it
like
was
that.
him. I feel like it is him. It could be him.
It's a lot of back and forth we go through with that dude because he takes very minutia parts of studies and he comes back and he ad hocs a whole argument for it. So yeah, it's probably him. A lot of times we deal with this dude, and he uses different handles, different names, different accounts, and I got a strong feeling it's him.
Yeah, this is probably him or some other dude that rolled with him. So he said, as for the confirmed and verified ancient EM2, they are as follows: Botswana, which is 1400 before present. So 1400 before present is when? It's 2023. You go 1400 years back. You're going to be about the 7th or 8th century, Common Era. 1072 BP. That's 1,000 years from now, right? You talking about Middle Ages, probably the 12th or 11th century, right? Somewhere around there. 230 years BP before present. Where does that put you? 1800, somewhere around there. It says in Congo, another Congo sample 220. This is all common era stuff. This does not tell you the origin of E1B1A. It doesn't. So what do you do now? You're going to go with pure speculation. Well, even though the up-to-date science is telling you that EM2 was a transmigratory group that was in the Green Sahara. Right? Let me get that paper real quick while we wait on him.
Yeah, because Jack Daniels is all right, I'm not even going to go down that route. But yeah, he's trying to basically dox me.
Yeah. All right, real quick. Let me go real quick and read this real quick. We're not gonna be on here all goddamn night. Got time for no damn trolls. Let's go to the peopling of the Green Sahara. Google.com. Peopling of the Green Sahara. Go there. I think you touched on this earlier, but I want to read this portion here. So within this paper here that was published in 2018, we want to go to the EM2 segment. And discuss what it says here. I tried to hard search it real quick. Give me a minute. It says here, as described above, EM2 is a sub-Saharan clade which has been often associated with the Bantu expansion. However, EM2 chromosomes have also been found at low frequencies, 2 to 10% in northern Africa. So this paper says something very interesting in it. Here, in this context, rare wide lineages with a relic geographic distribution can be highly informative regarding human migrations across the Sahara, thus considering their frequency distribution. The 4 trans-Saharan lineages A3M13, EM2, EM78, RVA8 could represent the remains of the Saharan MSY genetic landscape before the desertification, contrary to the usual interpretation involving recent gene flow events such as trans-Saharan Arab slave trade. This is what the up-to-date science says. The EM2 always have been in North Africa, along with its brother EM78, along with A3M13 and RVA8 before it made its way to sub-Saharan Africa. It's just that simple. They won't quote stuff like this, and they'll look at these papers and don't read the shit. They're trying to find something to try to poke. You can't poke no holes in this. It says what it says. That's why they're upset with the DNA that was found in France. They're upset with the DNA that was found in Corsica. They're upset with Ramesses III being called RV38. EV38. They're upset with that.
It's touching too close to home.
They don't want anything connecting us or our ancestors outside of sub-Saharan Africa. And the fucking idiot put in the post that the E1B1A that we do find in sub-Saharan Africa, the Dollarine farmers and stuff, that's East Africa actually. But when you find those in below the Sahara, it's the common era. Now I want you to get to the part where you talk about him quoting the Shumlaka paper, brother. Go there, man. Just punch these dudes in the mouth, man.
Yeah, but this is touching too close to home for the men of population. Anything too close, runs around Egypt, anywhere around there is touching too close to home for them when it comes to EV38.
Abu, if you're still in the chat, get Jacob Israel, if you can, to get that dude off that Facebook page or something, because he's trying to release all my information. But anyways, let's get back to the video at hand, or the comment section at hand. So he says in the post, also for the confirmed and verified ancient E-M2, they are as follows. And he names 5 different samples. Now, he's actually wrong about 2 of them. It's only 3 out of 5 that are E1B1A, which goes to show you he's trying to shoehorn a lot of these samples as E1B1A when they're not. I'm going to point that out to him. So as you can see, he's keeping on getting things wrong time after time. So I said, I already know the paper you're quoting. You're quoting only Congo, Botswana, and Botswana. Those 3, only these 3 are the E1B1As. And I believe he's getting it from this paper. I'm going to show y'all really quick here. So all of this is coming from this paper titled Ancient Genomes Reveal Complex Patterns of Population Movement, Interaction, and Replacement in Sub-Saharan Africa. And here's the table. And there's only 3 that there's only 3 that were E1B1A. So there's the Congo one from 230 BP. And then here is the Botswana one, here, E1B1A, from 1100 BP. And here's the other E1B1A right here from 1400 BP. Now, all of this is common era. Do I have that right, Yeshub? 1100 BP. That's
common era. All of those are common era.
Right, common era. Here's how you know that Jack Daniel and Adam Nazareth don't know what they're talking about, because he thinks that's Iron Age. He's saying that these E1As are Iron Age in Botswana and Congo. No, they're common era, 1100 BP, 1100 years ago.
Dumb
That's
bro.
Common era. Bro, hold on, bro. I gotta do this, bro.
You insecure fucking prick. It's like your brain. You're a donut! You're so stupid! You're so stupid! You're stupid! Dumb!
All right. Anyways, so let's get back to this at hand. I say, but what's interesting about this...
I'm sorry, Brian. I didn't mean to cut you. Hold on. But this is so basic. BP. All of them say BP. This is like, these mistakes are so, like, elementary mistakes. Common Era.
Yeah,
They can't even discern BP from. They can't even discern BP from Common Era. They can't discern it. This is crazy.
Yeah, you're a troll when you got multiple fucking pages. Only trolls do that, bro.
yeah, multiple
Multiple
You
accounts.
counts.
probably
Yeah,
talking to
it's the same person.
the same motherfucker
Exactly.
over and over again, bro. That's why I don't
It's your
do this
man.
internet goofy ass shit. You niggas goofy, man. Slow down real quick.
I got
Yeah,
a strong
so
feeling this your man that
Yeah,
was
if
slow
just
this
down.
talked
is
about.
if this is what's his name, biblical DNA or Danoid, then bro,
It
He did
makes
the
sense.
same thing as Danoid, bro. Look, go to that
It's the
right
same
there.
thing.
uh
The
yeah.
issue
Well,
is
actually, I want to read this really quick and then I go down there because this kind of leads into his next comment. So I say, but what's interesting about this is that the oldest E1B1A samples are only 1000 BP before the present. But we can't find E1B1A older than 3,000 years ago in West Central Africa. I tell them this. You cannot find E1B1A older than 3,000 years ago in sub-Saharan Africa. These E-M2 samples are very young in sub-Saharan Africa. I tell him this. He's not listening though. I would say that they come from North Africa, and I'll explain why. And so he brings up the Shumlunka remains, which absolutely has nothing to do with us. And then he's going to say in the comment later on that, he's going to say right here, where's the discrepancy? No one said Shim2 groups were synonymous with Shumlunka. Then why mention them in the first place? Why bring them up at all?
and he cut himself. Go back. This is the idiocy. This is why they don't want to get on fucking line and actually stand on and swear like men.
Right here,
right there. He said, why all this effort to disassociate from them?
Because we're not them.
Exactly. But you're saying no one's saying that it's enough. Yes, you are, because the next sentence is the telltale sign. He said, why all this effort to disassociate from them? There is no effort. Just read the fucking paper. We're not them. But even in that goddamn paper, those people even have a northern distribution. Even those people have elements from the north.
Exactly. But let me go up to the first comment. And can you address some of this while I take care of some things? I gotta.
Yeah, hold on. Can I show something real quick, bro? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I just want to show the meaning of BP. Y'all mind? Let me share my screen. You mind,
Yeah,
bro?
that's good. That's yes, just in case so the people may not know. Yeah.
Before the present, BP before the present is the number of years before the present, because the present changes. The present changes every year. Archaeologists, by convention, use AD 1950 as their reference. So 2,000 years BP is the equivalent of 50 BC. So BP means before present. So if something is 230 years BP, that's 230 years ago. If something is 1400 years BP, that's 1400 years ago. It will still put us in CE. That's it.
Yeah, man. This shit is
Just
silly,
want to
bro.
share that real quick.
And I'd just like to point out how much of a weirdo Jack Daniel is because he's posting photos of me when I was in high school. So high school photos, underage photos of me.
That's emotional damage. Now they upset. Now they just want to, they can't go do nothing else but try to do ad hominems and try to humiliate you in another way. So don't pay that no mind, because they don't have no
No,
argument.
I just
That's the type of person that goes shoot up innocent people at a fucking kindergarten or something because he ain't got no balls to do nothing to no grown man.
Hey,
You know
I
what I'm
just
saying?
want to point out that Jack Daniel or Adam Nazareth, whoever it is, has underage photos. That's all I want to point out. He has underage photos.
All you gotta do is report on Facebook, get rid of the motherfuckers. Only 4 people looking at that shit any goddamn way. These niggas are losers, bro. Now let's
It's
get
all the
back
same
to
person. It ain't even 4 people.
it.
They all
Ain't
the
even
same
4 people.
person.
They all the same people with troll accounts. Now pull that comment back up so we get the slice of this nigga, man.
Yeah, let's finish this up because it's getting late. We
All
got
right,
real jobs.
Yeah, pull that thing up, man.
You see him commenting right there, but I'm not gonna push it. So here it is. Here it is, Yashub, if you want to address each point. Or do you want me to read it, or can you read it? Because I'm trying to do some stuff.
Let me say, I'm gonna read it.
And then there's some things I'll point out too.
It says here, the issue there's only one archaeological site from West Central Africa, Shumlaka, which is right at the periphery between West and Central Africa. And this is reflected in autosomal DNA breakdown of Shumlaka. The 4 sample children from Shumlaka can be modeled as admixed approximately 35% ancestry related to West Central African hunter-gatherers and approximately 65% from basal West African related source. So these individuals carrying A and B is surprising given their hunter-gatherer admixture and location. In fact, practically every ancient EM2 individuals carry more West African related ancestry than Shumlaka. He says 65%. The EM2 Deloraine farmer from Kenya is 71% West African. The Botswana EM2 samples are 86 to 78% West African. And the Congo EM2 samples are 100% West African. Now, with this information, one or two conclusions can be drawn. One is that EM2 and Bantu groups, whom are evidently strongly associated with West African ancestry, came from further west and were not present in the Shumlaka region 3,000 years ago. That makes no goddamn sense. What do you mean further west? All right, I don't understand that, man. This is why you should be on here reading and telling us what the fuck you mean by this.
I offered him to come on, didn't want to.
It says the other plausible conclusion is common sense. Well, no, it's not common sense. Common sense that's a logical fallacy. This has nothing to do with common sense. This has something to do with the available data that's there. EM2 is not there. A and B is there. It says one archaeological site isn't going to be an unbiased representation of the full scope of genetic diversity in a region. That doesn't matter. Do you have another site? You don't, then that's all we can go off of, dummy. So what you're saying is you get to make up what the fuck you want to in your head. And you already made a mistake on this. Because earlier you said here, the 4 sample children from Shumlaka can be modeled as admixed with approximately 35% ancestry related to West Central African hunter-gatherers and 65% from a basal West African related source. Then you say down here that the Deloraine farmer from Kenya is 71% West African. That's not basal West African, you fucking clown. That's a difference. Let me go to the paper. Let's go to the paper real quick. Hold on. Let me go to the paper. Again, niggas is not reading this shit. Y'all don't read this shit, bro. I promise you. Let's go back to the paper. And you guys can watch our video where we went over this entire paper dealing with idiocy before. If you go to the paper that David Reich and others are responsible for, it talks about other West African populations in their admixture of basal West African. See, he's trying to conflate basal West African and West African. Those are two different things. Those are two different things. E1B1A characters don't have that much basal West African. Okay? So if you go here, let me share my screen. Where are we at? What am I sharing here? Right here. The West African clade is distinguished by admixture from a deep source that can be modeled as a combination of modern human and archaic ancestry. The modern human component diverges at also almost the same point as Central and Southern African hunter-gatherers. It is tentatively related to the deep source contributing ancestry to Moda, while the archaic component diverges close to the split between Neanderthals and modern humans. So when people bring up, they have a ghost population, that's what that's referring to. It says the signals of deep ancestry in West African related groups. This is that basal component that you lied and tried to say, they have. That's not the same shit, you idiot. Actually parse out and read this shit before you comment. It says can be explained by 2 admixture events, one along the ancestral West African lineage and a second smaller contribution, approximately 4% to the Mende from the same source. Accordingly, F4 statistics testing for ancestry basal to Southern African hunter-gatherers are well correlated in inferred proportions of ancestry from the West African clade. We estimate the shared admixture to introduce 10% deep modern and 2% archaic ancestry, although the first proportion is not well constrained. So you got 10% and 4%. These are small percentages versus what? 65%.
And it does say deep. Signals of deep ancestry in West African related groups.
Stupid ass.
I don't know. He must have left out deep.
He left out the word basal because there's not that much basal West African ancestry in the Dollarane farmer, jackass. Go ahead, Avery. If you're there, Avery. Remember, we on the time. We gotta do this pretty quick.
Yeah.
My bad. All right. So you already showed like the percentages and all that.
Yeah, but bring up your paper on the same thing to recapitulate it, brother. Drive it home.
All right. So here we go. So there's another paper that deals with the autosomal breakdown of basal West African in the groups like Yoruba and Mande. I'm trying to see. I think it's this one right. And there's a lot of papers that talk about it, but I think it's this one right here. No, is it this one? Hold on. It's a PDF. Or maybe it's this one. I don't know if I saved it. Hold on, let me see. Wait, which paper did you show? Can you give me the title?
David Wright. That's not
David
the paper.
Wright.
You have a different paper. I showed David Wright Ancient West African Forages in the context of African population. I put it in the chat.
Okay. I have a different one, but I can't find it. But basically, like West African related populations like Yoruba don't have very much West Central African DNA. They only have like about 9%. But you actually already showed it.
They don't have basal West African. The Shumlaka individuals have 65% basal West African. We have very small percentages of it. We don't have 65% like this motherfucker tried to imply. That's a sleight of hand shit. As a matter of fact, he said 100%. Same thing as them Africans tried to say, and we set their ass down and read the entire paper, and they had to recant at the end of it.
Bro,
You're not reading the goddamn paper. You too busy online creating fucking accounts in your mother's basement and your damn underwear with your piece of face and freckles. With no goddamn life.
Eating Captain Crunch and Hot Pockets.
Eating Captain Crunch and Hot Pockets, nigga. And there's mold growing on the fucking Hot Pocket.
Bruh. But
drinking that water from Flint.
But yeah, so he tries to connect us and bring up the Shumlaka remains, even though they have pretty much nothing to do with us. And he says, I don't see how North Africa comes into play in any of this.
Oh, stop right there. Stop right there.
Yeah, go.
I got this. We're gonna have to part 2 this shit. Look, man.
Yeah.
Stop the fucking press. Let me go back. And then let's go back to this ancient West African foragers. Now let's go. He says, I don't see what North Africa has to do with any of this. Now, you didn't read the paper about Shumlaka, dumbass, dipshit, loser. You didn't even read the goddamn paper, did you? Fucking 40-year-old virgin. Now,
40-year-old with underage images. That's all I gotta say.
So we're gonna go here, and then as we read earlier, where is it at? The genetic ancient DNA sampling process, implications of deep African history. There it is. Shumlaka in genetic and archaeological context. I'm gonna read this again for this slow motherfucker, for this goddamn troll. It says here, the chronology of archaeological record at Shumlaka suggests a possible northern influence on cultural developments during the Stone to Metal Age. I don't see what any of this has to do with North. Motherfucker, did you read the shit? No, you didn't. These include changes in stone tool, which can be interpreted as a fusion of local late Stone Age tool making traditions with new macrolithic technologies introduced from the North. And we know the macrolithic technology comes from the North, right? It says in the appearance of the ceramics, 4 shards found in early SMA burial layer and more abundant and distinct ceramics in later stones of Metal Age deposits, potentially related to earlier pottery working traditions in the Sahara and Sahel. Gene flow from the north before 8000 BP is also plausible due to a short period of Saharan and Sahelian aridification. Present-day groups in northern West Africa and the Sahel have substantial admixture connected to later migrations. So identifying the exact source area may await additional ancient DNA studies. So when you say, I don't know what this has to do with the North, motherfucker, read. Go.
And maybe he might not understand where it says 8,000 BP. Let's remind him what BP means. 8,000 BP is about 6,000 BC.
Yeah.
All right? That's not 8,000 BP. 8,000 BC.
Help him out. Help his ass out.
Yep. So he says E-M2 folks have a West African autosomal signature and lack any significant North African signature, with the exception of those further east that mix with the pastoralists, and those further south that mix with the individuals like South African 1200 BP, who was already mixed. So keep this in mind. He says E-M2 folks have a West African autosomal signature and lack any significant North African signature. Keep that part in mind. But anyways, just like what Yeshub and Sean brought out, when it comes to the Shumlanka remains, they have haplogroup A, haplogroup B. They have genetically nothing to do with Yoruba-related populations in E-M2. As a matter of fact...
Stop the presses.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, we roll your sleeves up. Get ready.
Your shoe done found your shoe digging in the crates. Your shoe digging in the crates.
So, right here, and we're gonna go to their favorite source. All you gotta do is go to their favorite source, right? Y'all know what their favorite source is?
Wiki.
Let's go to Wiki.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Let's go to Wiki.
Let's go to motherfucking Wiki, man.
Ignore everything the paper says and go, you know what I'm saying? Just go to Wiki.
Basal West African. Basal West African is a hypothetical line of descent that is no longer, what does that say? Extant. Doesn't exist anymore. You fucking dumbass niggas don't even understand that part. Let's go to the descendants. Yoruba and Mende peoples descend from Basal West Africans and another set of ancestors akin to East Africans and non-Africans, which is indicative of migration from East Africa. I don't even know if I want to read that to them again because it's going to be racial overload in their mind. Yoruba people have less ancestry from Basal West Africans than Mende people do, which have a large amount of ancestry. More specifically, Yoruba people have 9% Basal West African ancestry, and Mende people have 13% Basal West African ancestry. This motherfucker tried to compare it to the Shumlanka individuals, but the Shumlanka individuals have 65 fucking percent Basal West African, you fucking goofball. Somebody throw a fucking shoe at this nigga, man. I hope it rain on your ass.
And the crazy part is the Shumlanka remains don't even have like Bantu DNA or Yoruba DNA. That goes to show you that we didn't even admix with these people. We admixed with the descendants of these people, which are hunter-gatherers, pygmies, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like, they don't even have our DNA, not even the autosomal.
Every time we deal with the mental,
it gets worse right here. It says, in addition to having similarity with the remnant of the more basal sub-Saharan African lineage, for example, a basal West African lineage is shared between Yoruba and Mende peoples. The sub-Saharan African DNA in the Tafarots of the Ibero-Maurusian culture may be best represented by modern West Africans, for example, Yoruba or
We
Yoruba.
keep having to touch on these same points with these WHIs. We went over this basal, 65% basal West African. We went over the modern West Africans and the Yoruba. We went over all of this. I mean, it's like once a month we got to touch on this with these same dudes. It's the same thing, you know, over and over again.
Yeah, it's like every like 2 months we got to go right back to this. It's because
Nah,
they're
it's less
putting
than it's less than 2 months. It's once a month, bro. Once every 4 to 5 weeks.
I mean, it's clear they know nothing about E1B1A. They need to keep that haplogroup like out of their mouth because that's the only reason I even messaged in that. And I'm like, bro, when it comes to E-M2, it has a North African origin, and you're talking about it doesn't. And you said you did some digging. Clearly, you didn't do any digging. And then he brings up Sri Lanka, which has nothing to do with us. And then this is why I say to him, I point this out. So I said the Sri Lanka really has little to nothing to do with E-M2 populations for several reasons. One, Sri Lanka carried haplogroup A and B. Two, Sri Lanka carried mitochondrial L0A. Three, autosomal DNA of Sri Lankas was West African hunter-gatherer pygmy, 35%, more or less. Four, autosomal DNA of Sri Lanka was basal West African at 65%, more or less. E-M2 isn't haplogroup A and B. So we don't share any paternal or direct ancestry from Sri Lanka. Furthermore, the Sri Lanka carried hunter-gatherer pygmy and basal West African DNA autosomally. E-M2 populations don't have much hunter-gatherer autosomal DNA, nor do they have much basal West African DNA. They only carry around 10% more or less of basal West African DNA, but E-M2 population's overall genome isn't basal West African. E-M2 aren't basal West Africans. Furthermore, those remains of A and B markers were dated from 8,000 to 3,000 years ago in West Central Africa. Whereas the oldest E-M2 markers in West Central Africa are dated to 1,100 BP, which is Common Era, by the way. This illustrates that E-M2 hasn't been in sub-Saharan Africa. This illustrates that E-M2 hasn't been in sub-Saharan Africa. It migrated there from another location. As I stated before, I see a North African Green Saharan origin for E-M2. I will explain why in a future video. And this dude still keeps trying. So he says, where's the discrepancy? No one said E-M2 groups are synonymous with Sri Lanka. Why all of this effort to disassociate from them?
That's contradictory.
I was about to say, what the hell? That's exactly, it's contradictory. Just what the hell?
Like,
I
bro,
think he's
like
on Ritalin. I think he's on Ritalin.
he know he got caught in a lie. Because hold on. Because why bring him up in the first place and then talk about no one said that y'all are the same people, then why bring it up? Bro, this is him.
I wonder if you know that I know he's lying right now. You ready? Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my gosh. Stop fucking lying. Always lying to me. You lying so much. You making it hard for me. Every time you tell me something, I figure that you're lying. Ooh, it's almost like you faking. Oh yeah, yeah, I know you're lying, but you sound excited, and you know that I know that you're lying.
Just straight up lying. Can you hear me, by the way? Because I'm back on the...
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So he basically goes down a long diatribe, kind of trying to connect us to Sri Lanka still. And so I'm not going to read all of it, but here's some sleight of hand that he tries to do. So he says, yes, we know they're a hunter-gatherer / forager group. Yes, they carry A and B clades, which are typical foragers. And yes, they cluster with modern-day West Central hunter-gatherers who basically have the same admixtures as more or less plus 60% West African and plus 60% Central/South hunter-gatherers. Now, do y'all see the sleight of hand? He said West African,
Yeah,
like
you
it's
didn't put the
Yoruba.
basil. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just West African. It's Basil West African, dude. Dude who has photos of underage children. But anyways, um, so he goes on a long diatribe. I'm not gonna read it all, but I basically let's see if there's anything good in here, anything else to bring out as it goes into the ghost DNA and all that type of stuff. All right, so I think in this part I basically explained to him about admixture, so I'll just go ahead and read it. So I said, well, the only reason E-M2 populations has some affinities with Sri Lanka is because when they migrated into West Africa from North Africa, they mixed with populations that descended from Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka remains don't have any Yoruba or Mande related ancestry, which proves that E-M2 didn't mix with Sri Lanka directly. Rather, when E-M2 populations came from North Africa, they mixed with Sri Lanka's closest descendants, which are pygmy mtDNA L markers. But all of this, as well as all of this, as well as literally genetic, I meant to say literally all genetic papers say, and point to a North African origin for E-M2. Also, just because E-M2 isn't as abrupt in North Africa today doesn't mean it didn't originate there. Today, it's a desert, the Sahara Desert. So it makes sense now it's low in number. But when the Sahara was green, when the Sahara was green, E-M2 was born there and thrived there until desertification began. I meant to say until. I guess I did. Never mind. My bad. The reason I believe this and know is the reason why I believe this and know this is literally because genetic papers say this. I'm not just pulling this out of my imagination. And I read to y'all the paper titled the Greening of the Sahara, which talks about E-M2 being there. So I'm not going to read that again. And he Shub read papers as well. So like there's a lot of papers that talk about it. And so Fabian comes in and says,
Yeah, I was
sound
about to say.
points.
Yeah.
My bad. Did you say something?
No, I'll read Fabian's point because he sounds like an idiot too. Good.
Yeah, Fabian says, sound points. How can you have an understanding this? It's kind of worded strangely, but sound points. How can you have an understanding this population genetics and hold to a Hebrew Israelite identity? I said, note culture, Saharan origins. And I said, well, the Hebrew Israelite identity is a different thing that I'll have to explain at a different time. Like I said, I didn't
All
really
right, but
want to
hold
go
on
into.
real quick. It's because it's paternal. We're dealing with a Shemitic population. So sound points. How can you have any understanding of this population genetics and hold to a Hebrew Israelite identity? Because we're dealing with paternal lineage. All right. Everything that he showed up here with the or was trying to allude to with the Sri Lanka, with them, A and B, we're holding to that these are Shemitic, this is a Shemitic population, and we belong to this Shemitic population, which is haplogroup B. I'm sorry, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But I did tell him in the comments that, that I have to explain at a different time because, like I said, I don't really like going down long, deep rabbit holes on Facebook and all that. So
No,
let's kind of
exactly.
just,
But
yeah, so let's kind of skip over some of this because just me talking to Fabian. And then let's see. So I think right here might be a good place to start. And so Adam Nazareth, the guy who has underage photos, says that's one of many running theories. The Green Sahara was definitely a dynamic zone. There's evidence of farming from 10,000 years ago and a lot more we don't know about. There were definitely some sophisticated cultures present. A theory that's pretty much been substantiated. This is me. E-M2 definitely has a North African origin. Furthermore, papers do say this. And then Adam says, until there's empirical and empirical
Stop.
irrefutable.
Adam, you don't have any empirical evidence to prove that E1B1A definitely originated in sub-Saharan Africa. You don't even have that, but you're trying to double standard us with this bullshit here. You don't have any fucking empirical evidence, bitch. You have none. But then we'll say,
it's so
shut
obvious.
the fuck up. You niggas is fake as fuck on it. That's why I don't do this keyboard shit, bro. That's why y'all don't see me in these rooms talking to you weird ass niggas. Empirical. Where's your fucking empirical evidence then? Earlier you said there's only one site. Bitch, there's only one site. You gonna just make one up in your fucking head?
It's so obvious, yo. This first sentence he drops off right here that we just read. It's so obvious. Until there's empirical, irrefutable evidence.
For E1B1A not being in sub-Saharan Africa in ancient times. It's in Corsica. It's in France. It's in fucking Egypt. We got that fucking much. We don't have it in sub-Saharan Africa, you dumbass. Yeah. You gotta make shit up. That's not empirical. That's you on some SpongeBob SquarePants shit. Whoa, who lives in the pineapple under the sea? That's you, nigga. Empirical. Kiss my ass, empirical, bro. Go eat a dick.
Oh, yeah, these dudes are so funny. Like the meta population really try to talk. You know, they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. When you listen to when you read all of their comments, you know, they try to sound intelligent. They know what they're talking about. But every time, even Jacob Israel does the same thing. He'll say one thing, and in the very next comment, after you comment back, the very next comment, he's debunking his own or cutting himself with his next comment. This is what they do all the time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So he says, you know, I have to have all this evidence, but yet he provides zero evidence for E1B1A having an origin in West Central Africa. So he then goes on to talk about how all these other lineages, ancient J1, J2, R1B, H, G2A, T1A, stuff like that, is in you know, Egypt and Sudan, and no E1B1A. Which again, Ramses III and his son had E1B1A. So yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Doesn't know the science. And then he says, so no E-M2 in 3 ancient archaeological sites in the Maghreb. What more evidence is needed? No, there's no ancient E1B1A sites in West Central Africa from 3,000 years ago. Adam, Nazareth, you do realize that, right? Only in the Common Era. Anyways, so we find all of those foreign subclades, yet the E-M2 you claim is native to North Africa is nowhere to be seen. And then he says, furthermore, you seem to allude to a Iron Age migration or a 1100 BP migration from North Africa for E-M2. Like
Idiot,
I told
you, that's like 900 CE, 800 CE. You're talking Iron Age, and 1100 years before present is literally about 800, 900 CE, Common Era. You dumbass.
He thinks he thinks the BP is Iron Age and it's Common Era. It says BP.
This is dumb.
You're a donut. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. You're stupid. Dumb.
Man, this is the dumbass shit. This is the dumbass shit that we deal with. This is why you got blocked in the damn chat. You're trying to fish and fish and fish. You ain't finding nothing. How about you do this? Learn these concepts and actually read these fucking papers. You're not reading these fucking papers, bro.
No, they're learning it from us because they're being lazy.
Right, you hear us say something and then you try to fucking contradict it instead of actually trying to learn and grasp this shit. This is shit Garfield and Sonetta them do. They don't study this shit. This was makes you a dilettante. You don't care about the fucking topic.
Can't even
You're
say
just trying.
dilettante.
You're driven by your racial barrier and your racial line that you drew up in your fucking mind. You SpongeBob swearhead ass nigga.
The
Okay,
Shub didn't even say dilettante. He said diglettante. Goddamn dickheads.
that nigga, yeah, dickletunt nigga. Fuck
You,
wrong with you, nigga?
and you know the
Hey,
crazy thing is, it's like, hold on, thanks.
and you a nigga because you an ignorant motherfucker. That's why I'm calling you a nigga. Goofy bitch. Hey, hold on real quick. Let me go here because we about to wrap this up. We're gonna do part.
Yeah,
two.
we're gonna have to do a part 2. Most definitely, most definitely.
Let me read this real quick.
We'll stop right here
Let me
if you
read.
want.
Let me read this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um,
You're sharing your screen or what?
yeah, hard search this right here. Look.
All right, got you.
So this is from the summation. It says we generated genome-wide DNA data from 4 children buried roughly 8,000, 3,000 years ago at Shumlaka, which is Cameroon. One of the
That's
earliest archaeological
that's
sites.
BP, dickheads.
One of the earliest archaeological sites within
Dang.
the probable homeland of Bantu language. One individual carried the deeply divergent Y chromosome haplogroup A00. Is anybody that's a Yoruba? Like you might have a small percentage of them, but mainly the E1B1A carriers, right on the male side, which is found today almost exclusively in the same region. However, all 4 individuals' genome-wide ancestry profiles are most similar to West Central African hunter-gatherers. Say it with me, hunter-gatherers, implying that present-day populations in Western Cameroon, as well as Bantu speakers across the continent, are not descended substantially from the population represented by these 4 people. That's what the fucking paper says. That's what it says.
Wow.
I'm done, man. This shit's stupid.
And I guess we'll start back tomorrow, right? Same time, around the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to finish this up tomorrow? What we doing tomorrow?
Part 2.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Part 2 of us stomping this nigga, man, because this is just stupid as fuck.
Yeah. So all I gotta say when it comes to Adam Nazareth, what's the other guy that I was talking about?
They all the same people. You just say one person. They all the same troll.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure everybody gets the names of these people. Adam Nazareth, Jack Daniel, Jake. Excuse me, not Jacob Israel, but Jack Daniel. I can't put him.
Alexander Macedonia.
Yeah,
What's the other
Alexander
one with
Macedonia.
what's the other one with the Arab name? Something that was like the first hit piece we did. I wouldn't say the first hit piece, but we did one about 2 months ago. What was his name? Oh man, not Abu, something. It'll come to me. I'm sorry, but go ahead. Run off the names that you can remember.
Yeah, so Adam Nazareth, Jack Daniel, and if Danoy is doing this, I don't know if it's Danoy, but I'm putting him in it. If you're not, then my bad.
Biblical Israel, yeah.
Danoy, Biblical Israel, all the others, Alexander Macedonia, they have underage photos on in their phones. Just want to put that out there, and they don't know the DNA science.
And you're a damn idiot.
And also this.
You insecure fucking prick. It's like your brain doesn't fucking work. You idiot. You're honestly an idiot. I don't know what's wrong with you. You think you're the shit, whereas you're far from it. You're still stupid in your fucking head. You idiot. You're honestly an idiot. You're an imbecile. You fucking prick. Fucking prick. Only way this will get through to your thick head, prick. Fuck you.
I like that guy.
He sounds like he might be related to you. He might be.
It might be
related to you.
EU290, man. EU290. Yeah. You know how we do. We run through killing shit. We don't ask questions. We just go to fucking murking niggas. What? You said what? What about tool lit, nigga? I got that iron on. What's fucking wrong with you, nigga?
They're just looking for ways to rationalize their racism and confirm their biases. They're not even doing that, bro. New Hope Family Investment, it's just like they're so caught up in their racist feelings. It's like it's it's not even trying to rationalize to this point. They're just trying to like they're holding on to whatever presuppositions that they have, and they don't want to let go. No matter what happens, we spank them all the time. They're learning from us. They keep learning, and then they go back to the drawing board. They go back to the drawing board and they try to find something else that they can stick us on. But and these are the young dudes. These ain't even the older men of population or the WHIs that we were dealing with on Clubhouse. These are the young dudes, man. These is the young dudes, and they're jealous of Avery, because and to be real, a lot of these dudes channels that's doing DNA, the type of work that they're putting out can't even compare to what Avery's doing. And they hate that he seems to be the man when it comes to this. Because a few of them came on this channel and tried to lay down some work, and it's like, you know what, that's the last time you're coming over here. And they came friendly or whatever, they just want to put down, but like, they want to latch on. They're jealous. This is more jealousy. Like Sister E said, they're jealous.
You went to Sister E round.
They jealous. They're jealous.
Yeah.
They're jealous. So now they go to putting pictures up of my bro when he was in high school, and this, that, and the third. But that's not, and you know what I mean? These are the consequences you have of being on Facebook and posting stuff at an early age, and posting stuff. People try to take it and use it against you. And once they can't make their arguments work,
Freaking
then
weirdo, bro. That's some pedo stuff.
right, what I'm saying? But they children themselves, bro. These dudes is around your age, or
Oh, they're
what I'm
about 40
saying?
years old living in it. Remember biblical DNA? I'm 40.
Yeah, well, he's a retard. He's special. He's special.
I sound like
He's
a
special.
real boy. That's how he talk.
He was eating paint chips. He's 40 years old. He was eating lead paint chips when he was a kid.
That nigga do bath salts.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Jacob Israel too. He's a special one. He another one who like to contradict himself in Facebook posts, comments, making comments. You hit them or you bust them over the head with one comment, and then they come back and refute their own damn position within the next comment.
And the four motherfuckers be right. The four motherfuckers they talking to, let them talk to each other, man. Y'all some losers, bro. Y'all fucking losers. Yeah, exactly. It be four motherfuckers talking to each other, and probably the same motherfucker with 4 accounts.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? What do they call that? Shit, what they call that? Schizophrenic. What they call that when you got multiple personalities?
You got multiple account disorder. You got multiple.
Yeah, you got multiple personalities.
No.
I'm saying, what's the
sickness? Social media account disorder.
Right, exactly. This dude's just funny as hell, yo.
And the funny thing is, because we're going to come back to this tomorrow, though, but I keep showing different papers and keep explaining to him what the papers say. And the only reason he doesn't listen is because I'm black. That's the only thing I can get out of this, is that he has to be right because, he's non-black. And I have to be wrong because I'm black, and I must be trying to create some narrative or something. I'm like, bro, I'm saying what the papers say. I'm quoting, I'm showing you papers, and I'm giving you all the information. And you're actually trying to link us to things in which we're not linked to. So it's
that's the beauty of genetics, right? The beauty of genetics is this. A lot of these papers, especially when they're dealing with sub-Saharan African populations, they will address certain racist assumptions in the paper. Like we read earlier, it said a lot of people try to associate these migrations with what? Modern slaves, right? Slavery, which is incorrect. That's the beauty about geneticists. But you internet trolls, that's all y'all run to. The only way sub-Saharan Africans can move or migrate is through slavery. But all these papers are contradictions to those narratives. You understand? You're running out of glue. You just smoked all the bath salts. Now what?
Ran out of glue.
Yeah. And when they say modern slavery, they don't just mean the trans-Saharan slave trade. They mean the Saharan slave trade as well. Because that went on until what, like 1940 or 1950?
Right. So they'll try to say that's the impetus of E1B1A being outside sub-Saharan Africa. The paper is saying no. These groups have been transmigratory, and their reach is far greater than sub-Saharan Africa prior to any of those things happening. It's like that motherfucker on Facebook, the African that say the same thing. Y'all both two peas in a pod. You both racist people, both of y'all. And y'all racist to other black and African populations. Because you think they were immobile, they didn't have fucking legs, they couldn't migrate. Right? What the guy say? Oh, we showed them that L3 marker, which is a West African marker in the Levant. What they say? Oh, that's because of slavery. 3,500 years ago? 3,500 years ago, you fucking goof.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember this thing.
Yeah.
Ass nigga.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Well, we'll come back again, you know. We'll keep doing this.
I know exactly what it is, bro.
Because we got to mix it up too, bro. We got to mix it up too. Because we go in on our own.
No, I'm gonna keep going in on the BHI. They not fucking
right.
safe. This is an E3 idea to do this. I'm gonna tell you right now. If it was up to me, my foot be up in my ass tonight. You call a break, nigga. But these
we have to do it with them too, though. We have to call everybody.
We don't have to, but we do it because they're racist. But watch this. Check this out. We said you didn't know what was going on. This is what's going on.
They done left me in here with this retarded son of a bitch. He ain't got no name tag on or nothing.
When you go into these rooms, you're right. When you go into these groups, you in there with a bunch of retarded motherfuckers with no name tags.
That's it.
And that's for both sides of the table. BHI. We haven't done anything on the LHI in a minute. When we go and hit them Latin.
Oh, I know you're talking about the Latin American.
Yeah, no, the Latin Hebrew Israelites, the LHIs. We gotta hit them too at some point, but they ain't been making no real noise. So,
all right, man, it's 9:30. I'm out.
Yep.
Remember, folks, stay shiesty. Yep.
I don't let him track out, nigga. I don't let him catchy. Niggas know what's going on.
I load it up.
All that tough talk, nigga, come be target practice. These 223s taking souls and they doing damage. Stink team with them niggas with exotic fast. So young bitchin' in my ear, I just flew fly him. Gang and them just strip that nigga pieces, grab his phone after. Monkey nuts jumping out the top, going chimpanzee. Gave him SpongeBob hoes, I know he miss Sandy. Hit her up with donut holes, he just yell Randy. They ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some. Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. I think you owe some, strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting. They ain't on nothing. Cock back and blow some. Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting. Nigga, they ain't on nothing. Cock back and blow some, bitch. Nigga, Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. Nigga,
Yeah.
I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer.
You know the truth.
He only said one word and I just start blasting.
Had to flee the scene, it was kinda graphic. It's our first mixtape, but we been established. Give him 32 shots, I'm finna show him magic. Off the muscle, nigga, this a guaranteed classic. If we popping out, you know I'm bringing stick, of course. Ballin' out on niggas, I ain't out here tryna play no sport. Kick her out the crib, tell a bitch not to fight the force. Strip a tall nigga, pockets loose, he came up short. Niggas nerves and dorks, count these automatic bullets. Hit him in his head, turned his dreadlocks into a mullet. I think you owe something, strip for me, give it up. Got home and hit the field again, that was not enough. Like a nigga double dutch, hop, skip, run and jump. Tripping, falling, pulling up his jeans, he was out of luck. Too gritty, bitch, this for life, this is not for fun. Niggas took my dog, now all these niggas be hard to trust.
They ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some. Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting. They ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some. Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting. Nigga, they ain't on nothing, cock back and blow some, bitch. Nigga, Hun Diddy's all on the flow, I'm a stove cracker. Nigga, I think you owe some. Strip, he's a pole dancer. He only said one word and I just start blasting.